Who is the greatest wrestler of all time? Greetings, programs. Today's video is my custom WWE 2K ratings, a project I started back in November of 2023. Yes, it's been that long and it's finally here. So why do this, Maddie? Why make a custom roster with your own ratings? Well, I love wrestling. I grew up in the Attitude Era, and I've played wrestling video games since I was a kid, including the best ever, in my opinion, Here Comes the Pain. I never had an N64. We had a PS2, so I can't really say no mercy. Something that Here Comes the Pain has that 2K doesn't have is a very wide range of ratings for wrestlers. I started this affair because I bought 2K23 on sale 2 years ago now. It was the first time buying a wrestling game since 2K16, and I noticed that Mr. McMahon was rated a 76 overall, and MVP was rated a 75 overall. In no circumstance should MVP be rated less than Mr. McMahon. Now, I understand Mr. McMahon, on-screen character, also maybe off-screen, greatest villain of all time, but he should never be rated higher than MVP. I don't care if it was the booking at the time. MVP, United States champion, first ever Intercontinental champion, IWGP, if I remember correctly. Like, the guy's a pretty good athlete, pretty good wrestler. I don't care how many losses he's had recently. He's older now, but he should never be rated less than Mr. McMahon. And for this year's version of 2K24, I saw some YouTube videos of people adjusting their ratings. Logan Paul is a 90 overall. The Macho Man Randy Savage is an 89 overall from 2K. Macho Man is like one of the greatest of all time. Logan Paul did not have a good 2023. His win percentage was 40% according to Cage Match. His career win percentage is 46.7%. Shouldn't be close to a 90. And lastly, I also did this project because I would download created characters, which some look incredible, by the way, and make the game so much better. But the ratings for them are all over the place. I've downloaded Marty Scurll, and he's a 90 overall, and then I'll download Naito, and he's a 75. Like, what? There's also this like alternate ideology that wrestlers shouldn't have ratings per se, but be rated equally. You can kind of see this approach in like the older wrestling games. I like this system because wrestling isn't like a real sport or a real competition. There's no real better wrestler than the other. It all goes based on booking. That being said, I don't 100% love that system. Some wrestlers are definitely stronger than others. Some are better at submissions, aerial moves, etc., etc. So there does need to be some kind of like range to better represent the superstars, and that range is a rating system. So how do you quantify something that's pretty much opinion? Who is the greatest wrestler of all time? So my formula is as follows: the average of total wins, win percentage, and days as world champion in a significant promotion. So for win total and win percentage, if I just use win percentage, that means people like Goldberg and the Ultimate Warrior will be rated higher than Ric Flair, who has been a heel most of his career and hasn't won as much as the other two guys. However, Ric Flair's longevity, total wins, along with the amount of days as a world champion, has him higher on my list than Goldberg and Warrior. So this system, I believe so far, is good. Now, the first of two biases is the significant promotion portion for world champions. What would exhibit a important company? So I have the big boys, obviously, of past and present, most of the promotions with TV contracts, and an okay amount of indies. So TNA is included, but not full Impact Pro out of Florida. Dragon Gate, but no Ryukyu Dragon Pro Wrestling. AAA and CMLL, but no Azteca. However, to be fair to both past and present, smaller NWA territory regional heavyweight belts count, as well as major indie promotions like Rev Pro or Over the Top. Essentially, if there's a Google search box showing up on the right hand side when you Google the promotion, there's a decent Wikipedia page, it's popular enough to be included. There's also the consideration of those who are bookers as wrestlers and made themselves champion. Originally, they weren't included, but now they are. I had two friends kind of arguing for each side, one for including, one for excluding. The argument was if they are popular and or are good, they should be champion. The argument against was somebody like Jeff Jarrett shouldn't be too high of a rating because he booked himself as champion in the top spot, but I would also say that Jeff Jarrett is a good wrestler. Is he a 95 overall? You wouldn't think so, but the stats from Cage Match don't lie. Or at least we think they don't. So the range we're going to have for wrestlers, in my starting overall, is going to be 99 to 55, with 69 being the average. 69 will be the wrestler who has a middle of the road career. The second part is the bias. After the formula is calculated, how do you determine who gets a 69 rather than a 68? What's the cutoff? This model isn't very fair for guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was kind of like a mid-card heel for most of his career, therefore losing lots of matches, and his time on top was only for a few years before he left the business. This mirrors guys like The Rock, who had a shorter career compared to other wrestling lifers like his dad, who has a better rating than him in this system. So if you think dudes are rated too low, I agree, but if you look at the stats, kind of is what it is. But if you want Stone Cold just for his prime, like say like 96 to 03, which 2K I believe exhibits, he's a lot higher than my list. He's about like a 95 or so. For Rock, it's kind of hard to say what his prime was. From 98 to 2002, a win percentage of 51.7%, but his best year was 01, which 2K24 has, gives him a very high overall. So both of those overalls for those dudes are pretty fair. I would say pretty accurate. Rock always gave Austin a run for his money, but Austin nearly always came out on top. So the overall isn't a death sentence. A guy like Zeus, rest in peace, went 0-4-1 in his career, was great in the movies, but is an 87 on 2K23. I have him on this first list at a 64. That may seem low and probably is, but matching up against a CPU 96 overall Hogan, CPU Zeus actually gives him a good go at his money and has beaten Hulk in a simulated match one time. So a lower overall doesn't necessarily mean they can't be a world champion. Jinder Mahal. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you my wrestling overalls. They're going to be in blue on the chart, but first we're going to start off with who is the greatest wrestler of all time. Are you ready? You will never guess it. Here is the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. At number 4, Antonio Inoki. Number 3, Lou Thesz. Number 2, Giant Baba. And to give you a hint of who's left, the honorable mentions are Vern Gagne, Jumbo Tustrada, I'm terrible with names, Jim Londos, Bruno Sammartino, Ric Flair, and Hulk Hogan. So who is the number 1 wrestler of all time? Are you ready for it? Drum roll, please. The fabulous Moolah. Yep, the fabulous Moolah. She is the greatest wrestler of all time with over 10,000 days as world champion for the women's division. I don't agree with it either, especially considering her allegations, but it is what it is according to Cage Match. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet and see the other 1,800 plus ratings. They are from each era, including promotions predating those of NWA and WWF. Now, everything you see here is subjective. This is professional wrestling. Do not get triggered. Cage Match doesn't have the 100% accurate stats. They're pretty close. As I go through this list, I absolutely love the overalls I've assigned. They look fair. They look like they have range. They're not too far from each other. Wrestling with one person that's great should have an impact versus someone far inferior. But at the same time, if you play well, or if it was real life, if they perform well, they'll win and beat out Goliath, so to speak. And so does Jim Cornette speak. So I'm in love with this. I think the project panned out really well. Quickly, side note, I'm just going to go to the next paragraph. I have the deluxe edition, so it came with almost everything, but for some reason the Nightmare Family pre-order pack does not save my custom ratings and is broken. Quickly, Superstar Billy Graham is an 87, Dusty Rhodes is a 97, Stardust is a 71, and Undashing Cody Rhodes is a 67. So here is the overalls I have assigned for every single wrestler. This is the first option that you could use, but honestly I've been using kind of just the rest of the individual stats that I've made all the way through here. I just feel that the range and the way that they play in the game is just so much better than if I just had like this and use intervals of 5, which 2K does. And I feel like there's just not enough like range or rating. I feel like when I use the whole stats that I've made here, that the game plays so, like every single wrestler plays so differently. And I feel like they're like their real life counterparts, kind of like how my EA NHL roster is. So you can see here, got the win percentage, I got days as world champion and a significant promotion. So all this makes a number here that I then assign a number there, and I use that number for all these individual stats over here. So you can see that Roman Reigns is the 28th best wrestler of all time. John Cena is the 23rd. That's really good. But you see a guy like Jerry the King Lawler, Rika Dazan, Jumbo Tustra, Inoki, Baba, all these guys in yellow have been their own promoter, booker. I forgot to put a green little guy right there. But those are the dudes that gave themselves world title reigns, and that's pretty much it. But all those guys are also the top 2% or so of wrestlers. So very interesting. But I mean, Jerry the King Lawler is still a great wrestler. But is he a 95 overall? That's up to you to decide. He is almost, I think, a 95 also in my 2K ratings we're going to get into in a second. But this essentially is the whole spreadsheet. Some of these guys are going to be custom downloaded guys. My save is glitched. This is the second time this has happened. So this is just going to be it. I'm probably just going to keep these guys until 2K25 goes on sale. But here are my custom ratings. So Adam Cole, baby, 82 overall. Pretty good wrestler. I would say it's pretty fair. It's almost like a 2K rating. But AJ Hawk, obviously nobody really liked this DLC. But AJ Hawk, I feel like it should be a 65 because he was a professional athlete. And he's been successful, won some championships. So the rest of the guys you're going to see here are not even close to that. AJ Styles, one of the greatest of all time in the modern era. I'm probably going to hear me say that a lot. 94 overall. Some of them I'm not like the biggest super fan anymore, so I don't watch the product a lot. I can't say if some of the wrestlers are very accurate, but Akira Tozawa, 77 overall. I think he's mostly been like a low card guy. Al Snow, 81. Al Snow's career is pretty much over. 81 I'd say is pretty fair for him. Don't know much about Alba Fire. Alex Shelley still in it. I'm glad he's finally in the E, as my friend Steve says. 80 overall for him. Alexa Bliss, 70 overall. That's not the greatest rating, but honestly, it's kind of accurate. She's a very good athlete, but she's been pretty much a heel her whole career. She has been world champion, but she's lost a lot of matches. Andrade, an 85. He's very good. This was my last CAW wrestler that I downloaded before my save glitched. Andre Chase, don't know much about him, 75 overall. Andre the Giant, a 90 overall, very well deserved. Could be maybe a little bit higher, but his last couple years, I think, brought this overall down. It probably could have been really up there. Also, he doesn't do very many athletic things like go the top rope and stuff, obviously, because he's freaking huge. But pretty good rating for him. Angel Garza, 75. Angelo Dawkins, 76. Apollo Crews, 82. Probably think that's a little high. I'll probably be saying that a couple times here. But Apollo Crews does a lot of really good things. He's pretty athletic. He's strong. He flies. So 82 is pretty fair for him. But, you know, you look at somebody like Arn Anderson, 82 overall. You're probably a big old school wrestling fan. You probably think that Arn Anderson and Apollo Crews are not the same. But Arn Anderson, great technical wrestler, but not that athletic compared to Apollo Crews. Ashante the Adonis, 68. So that's a lower end NXT rating. Not very successful, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's an awful athlete. So Asuka, 93 overall. I think right now she's injured, but one of the greatest of all time for women. Unfortunately, she's getting older, but amazing athlete, great wrestler. Austin Theory, very underrated. I know that they're kind of like disrespecting him with the ratings. I think he's been like a 70 maybe this year or last year. It's like, dang, this guy's been very successful outside of WWE. Very good wrestler. Axiom, sorry, I don't know the product. 72 overall. Bad Bunny, 70 overall. Pretty fair. This guy is not a wrestler, and he's doing a very good job when he does wrestle. So I think he's like an 84 from 2K, at least last year. I think maybe this year, maybe he's an 80, 84. But 70 is very fair. This dude is, I don't listen to much of his music, but really good wrestler. I'm really happy for him. Bam Bam Bigelow, 85, pretty good career, mostly a villain, but he has been a face, but 85 is pretty fair rating for him. Baron Corbin is gone, 77 overall, pretty much a heel all of his career. That's a pretty fair rating for him. Do not think this is like a traditional 2K roster, 2K ratings, because Batista would probably be too low for your taste. But Batista had a pretty good career, about 50-50 for heel face. I do feel like he should be higher. I love Batista. Bayley, 92 overall. Now she is a face, so I put her to cheer. Very good wrestler, very underrated. Has a great career so far. She has a lot ahead of her, as well as Becky Lynch. She's kind of like retired now, but she could totally come back and wrestle more, but she has a little baby, which I understand being a mom is more important. She did say that she was the greatest wrestler of all time, but for me, I have her ratings less than Bayley. But in 2019, she was probably in her prime or so. 95 overall. Beth Phoenix, fantastic, very underrated. women's wrestler. 91, very strong, as well as Bianca Belair. 88, not there just yet, but an amazing rating so far in her young career. Here she is in NXT at a 70, pretty fair rating for NXT. This is hilarious. Big Boom AJ, 71, pretty fair for him. He has been wrestling before he got famous. Big Boss Man, 79 overall, did not make the cut to 80. Big Boss Man's actual stats are going to be different than it's 2K one. There's a lot more range here. Those are his individual stats right there. Also, I downloaded Boss Man 99 during the Attitude Era. 65 overall, did not win very much, but I had to have the black getup suit, little cop uniform. Big E, 88, a little high for him, but he has been champion. He's a pretty good wrestler, very strong. He is athletic, he's agile, he goes to the top rope, he's crazy. So 88, maybe a little high, but really good athlete and a good wrestler in my opinion. The Big Show, 90 overall, same as Andre the Giant, both great big men. This is late 90s, like WWF debut, WrestleMania 16 or so. Billy Gunn, 88. You probably think that's a little bit too high. Billy Gunn, if you look up on Google right now, is Billy Gunn underrated? And the first thing is like people talk about how Billy Gunn is underrated as heck. So Billy Gunn, a really good wrestler. This dude is literally 60 years old, still jacked up, still wrestling in the same company as his kids. That's pretty cool. Blair Davenport, I don't know much about her at all. Bob Backlund, one of the greatest of all time, 97 overall. This is Bob Backlund, 94. You, sir! My favorite thing in the early days of YouTube, you would see like videos of like someone going up to him and like, hey, can I have an autograph? And he goes, who's the second president of the United States? And then people are like, and then he goes, good day, sir! And he just leaves. It's so funny. Like, he's just in character, keeping kayfabe alive. Bobby Lashley deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of African-American wrestlers. If it is a Mount Rushmore of African-American wrestlers, you gotta put Bobby, Booker T, The Rock, and who would the fourth be? Junkyard Dog. Boogeyman, 73. I think he won a lot, but his longevity wasn't really there. 98 pin escape. He won a lot, but you know, not very technically sound. Didn't really do any submissions, but he was pretty strong. Booker T, one of the greatest of all time. I love this guy. He actually gave me a fist bump. Was it for SmackDown when I was second row in Toledo? And then I bought his shirt. The rest of the Pat McAfee guys besides Pat are a 30 overall. I don't think this guy was as bad as the Ty Schmidt dude, but like they're all just talking smack on wrestling fans. They all get a 30. Bradshaw, this is the late 90s Attitude Era Bradshaw, including Acolytes and APA, 90 overall. Braun Strowman, 85 overall, obviously very strong, pretty athletic for a big guy. 85 is pretty fair. Bray Wyatt, this may seem a little low, but Bray Wyatt has lost a lot of matches. He was not world champion for a very long time, but if you look at Boom, Bray Wyatt in 2020 was pretty dang incredible, won quite a lot. Bret the Hitman Hart, one of the greatest ever, 98 overall. I think he's low 90s for 2K, which is pretty disrespectful. This guy is absolutely incredible, does literally everything to a T. Same with 1992 Bret Hart. Brian Pillman, Rest of Soul, 85, pretty fair. British Bulldog, you may think is a little high at 95. British Bulldog is absolutely incredible, great athlete, strong, agile, pretty much fast. Actually, let's just show you real quick. Has won a lot of matches. He's very strong, has good stamina, agility. He's pretty fast for his size, and he's just an absolutely solid wrestler. Besides the aerial, pretty much no weak spot in this guy's career. But in the late 90s, with the Hart Foundation, etc., he's a heel. Obviously, heels don't win as much. 74 overall for him. Brock Lesnar, one of the greatest athletes that WWE's ever had. 95 overall. This is his whole career, I believe. No, it's not. It's for like 02, 03. Braun Breaker, 86. Probably think it's a little bit high. Very good wrestler. Does a lot of really good things. Just show off really quickly. He's actually quite fast. He goes to the top rope. He's just absolutely solid for having a young career so far. Pretty strong, agile, quick. Bronson Reed, very athletic. I have him here. His aerial offense being huge. This guy's pretty good. Just need to start securing those dubs, which it'll come in time. No idea about Brooks Jensen. Bruno Sammartino, Let's just see the range here: 62, 79, 86, 95, 74. Like, everyone's going to play differently. They're going to play accurately. But Bruno Sammartino, 95 overall, one of the best to ever do it. Deserves the 95. Doesn't deserve anything less. Fantastic wrestler. Bruce Creed, 72. Bryan Danielson, one of the best to ever do it in the modern age. But at the beginning, there's two times. Incredible technical wrestler. Does it all. Flies, submits. He's pretty agile. Decently fast, but not amazingly fast. But incredible wrestler. Bubba Ray Dudley, a little low for my taste, but is what it is. 78 overall for him. Buff the Stuff. 81 might be a little high compared to, like, say, Bubba Ray, but I mean, Buff Bagwell, he won a decent amount of matches. I think he was kind of a face for most of his career. He obviously was a heel too. He's with NWO. Pete Dunne, very good wrestler, 85 overall. Cactus Jack, this is just as Cactus, and Cactus lost a lot of matches. But Mick Foley, there's a Mankind later here, and he's a lot higher rated. Cameron Grimes, 76 overall. Don't know much about him. Same with Candice LeRae. Carlito being an 84 is pretty fair. He's had a really good long career, pretty good wrestler. Carmella being a 73 is pretty fair as well. She has been champion, but she has lost a lot of matches. Carmelo Hayes being 74. Cedric Alexander, 75. Don't know much about those dudes. Chad Gable being a 79, a little low. He's a very good technical wrestler. Had a really great first match with Penta. I did watch that because I love Penta. Down here to Stax Lorenzo, 66. Charlotte Flair being an 86. You may think that's a little low compared to Bayley and Becky Lynch, but right here, 69. Obviously didn't buy that, but she might have been a lot higher. But in 2019, not that great. She's been a heel mostly, so that's why maybe it's a little bit lower than Bayley. She's been a face for most of the time. Same with Becky. Chelsea Green being a 73. Chris Jericho, this is his whole career, but his look from the late 90s, 90 overall or early 2000s. Chris Sabin being a little bit less than his tag partner at a 77. Christian being, this is his whole career rating here, 82, even though it's late 90s look. China being a 76. I don't like this render. I like the other one better from last year, but 76 overall, pretty fair. CM Punk being at 89, that's pretty fair. He's been a champion with a lot of different companies, and he'll probably push to a 90 because he's a face right now. Doesn't have too many years left, maybe like 4 or so, but it's nice seeing him back in WWE and being happy and healthy. That's why he left. Cody Rhodes being an 85. This is gonna probably upset a decent amount of people. However, Cody Rhodes, his whole career, up to 2018, he was a villain for the most part. Him being an 85 is pretty good. Now, if it was just his American Nightmare face from, I think, 2018 and on, it would be about 95, 96 overall. I don't know much about Cora Jade, nor Cruz del Toro. D'Lo Brown, very good high flyer, pretty strong. 84 is pretty fair for him. Devon Dudley, 75, a little low for him. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. Dakota Kai, 76. 88 for Damian Priest. You may think that's a little high, but this guy does a lot of things. He's pretty athletic. He's also been world champion, not just in WWE, but I believe also in other promotions. Damon Kemp, 74. Dan the Beast, Severn. I really like this guy. 90 overall. Did not have a very long run in WWF in the late 90s, but very good technical wrestler, former world's champion in pretty much everything he's ever done. Absolute badass dude. 90 overall. You see the duality of man. I have Danhausen here, 63 overall. I love the entertainment value of Danhausen. I'm really glad DDP was DLC this year because I downloaded him in the Call Creations last year. 82 overall for his career. Yeah, decent. Could be higher, sure, but I think it's fair at 82. Dean Malenko, 78. That is a little bit low, but Dean Malenko was kind of mid-card his whole career, so this is what it is, 78. Dexter Lumis, that might be a little bit high, but this guy does a lot of things right. He's a pretty good wrestler. This is Kevin Nash as Diesel only. Diesel was obviously very successful. He's won a lot of matches. So 92, you don't think it's fair, but it actually is. D-Jack being 80, Dirty Dom being 63 might be a little bit low because, you know, he is kind of athletic for, I mean, obviously he's the son of one of the greatest luchadors of all time, but you look at him, you don't think he's like that great of a wrestler, but, you know, hasn't won much. That's probably why he's so low at 63. If he turns face and goes on a tear, kind of like Cody, maybe it goes higher. Matt Bourne as Doink the Clown, 82. Maybe a little bit high, but is what it is. Dragon Lee being 80. As he continues his career, he's also a face. That should go higher. Drew Gulak is gone, 79. Drew McIntyre, this is his whole career. Obviously, I don't agree with it. I think he should be higher. I think he's a really great heel and a really great wrestler. So it should be higher if it's his last couple of years. But remember, his whole career, like he had a lot of really bad gimmicks given to him. But now he's just whooping a lot of butt. So I'm really happy for him. Dude Love only being a 74, almost about same as Cactus Jack. But Duke Hudson, 80, no idea. Eddie Guerrero, 88, very fair. And then 94 for the WCW, Eddie Guerrero. And the specific year of 97, he's an 94 overall. Eddie Kingston, absolutely love this guy. He's downloaded 85 overall. I might think that's a little high compared to the other wrestlers, but it is what it is. I love Eddie. Edge, his whole career, 83 overall for him, but the late 90s, early 2000s look. Elton Prince, no idea how this guy is, 62. Eric Bischoff is a 54. I believe he was a 64 originally, so 54 is pretty fair for a guy who all he's done is some karate kicks. Oh, I love you, Eric. I'm not trying to chirp him or anything. I think Eric's great. Other Eric, I don't have like the championships downloaded, so I just gave him like the raw ones. So Eric is a 76. Eve Torres being an 88 is a little high for me, but she was a face for most of her career, and she was also Divas champion for a while. But not the greatest wrestler, but she just won a lot. Farouk being 81, I feel like that should be higher, but it is what it is. No idea about Fallon Henley, The Fiend. So I gave him the same rating as the regular Bray Wyatt at 78. Finn Balor, 86, pretty fair. Should be higher maybe, but he really hasn't been a world champion with WWE long. I think he was IWGP. No, he wasn't an IWGP heavyweight champion. But anyway, he's a great wrestler. 86 is pretty fairish. Gangrel, 82 is pretty fair. George Animal Steel, 72. That seems a little low, but it is what it is. I have Gerald Briscoe as the Stooge from the late 90s at a 74. Pretty funny. I had to include him because that was just my childhood growing up. Gigi Dolan, 74 overall. No idea who she is. Same with Giovanni Vinci. I think he got kicked out of Imperium. So I don't know if he's still a heel or face. I think he's still a heel. He just got kicked out of Imperium. This is Godfather only, not his whole career, including like Papa Shango or anything. So it's an 86. If it includes like Papa Shango and Kama Mustafa and all that, I think it would be about 80, 82 or so. Goldberg being 85 once again, and this is the whole formula of longevity. You know, Goldberg won a lot of matches. 85 is pretty fair for him. He plays like Goldberg. It's pretty great. Goldust being a 92, you may think that is high. I may agree with you, but he does pretty much everything. He's won a decent amount. He's also been a heel, so he's lost a decent amount. But just once again, the longevity of Goldust, he's been around for a long time. So should be a 92. I agree if it's a little high, but comes from a really great wrestling family. Rest in peace, Brian Christopher, 85. Might be a little bit high. But Grayson Waller, 71. Great Muta, 98. If you know ball, you know that this is pretty much correct. So you're going to see like the different tiers of like greatness. You're going to see Bret Hart and Great Muta being 98. You're going to see the low 90s of Andre the Giant and the Big Show. You're going to see the high 80s, the mid 80s, the low 80s, and it's just, there's such a great range here. Gunther being a 96 overall, you probably think, wait a minute, Gunther is kind of youngish compared to, say, Great Muta being 98. Gunther has won, I think, so many world championships in different promotions before he came to WWE. He's a really great wrestler. I'll be very surprised if this doesn't go higher, because his reign as World Heavyweight Champion right now just continues to extend. I have Adam Page's Hangman Page, 82 overall, because that was his name in New Japan. Hardcore Holly, 76, pretty fair. Holly Race, very underrated wrestler. One of the greatest ever to do it as a heel. Everybody absolutely hated his guts in the NWA days, but really solid dude. Tanahashi, 94, one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers of the modern era. Well deserved. Hulk Hogan as Hollywood Hulk Hogan, 75. Hulk Hogan, according to Cage Match, when he was Hollywood, did not win very much, so that's why he is a 75 versus his higher rating. The Honky Tonk Man, 66 overall. Maybe 66 overall as a human being, but as a wrestler, he has not won very much, even though he's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever. Pin Escape is one of the worst. He's at a 60. And here is obviously one of the greatest to ever do it on so many people's Mount Rushmores, including mine. Unfortunately, Hulk Hogan. I still love him, but man, I don't know. 97 overall, and then 93 for 02. So obviously one of the greatest to ever do it. A 97 is pretty damn fair for that powerhouse. And then 93 had a really great 02. So it makes sense. Humberto, 71. Hurricane, 80. A little high. Dragunov, 86. I don't know much about this guy, but I hear good things. 86 is pretty fair. He has a lot more to go. No idea about that chick. Iron Sheik, 79. Pretty fair. He's lost a lot. He's a great wrestler, but he's unfortunately been a heel and just taken, the jobs. Ilsa Dawn, don't know much about her. Ivar being higher than Eric, I believe. Ivy Nile, 76. Io Sky, 86. I don't know how old Io Sky is. I don't know how much longevity she has left, but great wrestler. Jacob Fatu, very young, very athletic, fast, does like everything. So 91, you probably think that's probably too high for him. This guy is unreal. What an absolute great signing by WWE. JC Jane, don't know much about her. Jade Cargill, great powerhouse. Has not been world champion in WWE yet, I think. I haven't really paid attention much, but pretty strong wrestler. Has a little bit ways to go, but 84 is really good for her. She has won a lot of matches. Jake the Snake Roberts, 83. This guy really should have had a program with Hogan. He should have been world champion, that really big monster heel. But was just that mid-card guy. Very psychological, great promo. But 83, maybe a little low. I feel like mid-80s or so for 2K-ish standards. But for my standards, 83 is, I guess, fair. Switchblade, 76. I didn't know that he was like almost 40 or so. I thought he was like low 30s. He's lost a lot. He's a very good wrestler. Just 76 is what it is. He's lost a lot of matches. JBL, I believe this is his whole career, because if it's JBL only, believe it or not, even though he was world champion, he lost a lot, so he'd be like a 76 or so. JD McDonough has had success, I believe, outside WWE as an 80. Jeff Hardy, 87. This is his whole career, but his look from the late 90s. 85 for Jeff Jarrett, so that's a little more fair for him compared to like a 95. Jerry the King Lawler, just as much as Jeff Jarrett did, he booked himself as champion. We see the disparity between Jerry and Jeff. I think Jerry the King Lawler just did more things in the ring, like go the top rope, than Jeff did. Jey Uso, very good wrestler, 86 overall up to this point. If he keeps winning and stuff, or if he ends up becoming world champion, that'd be cool. It would be pushed up higher, but Jim the Anvil, 9 Heart, 77 overall. We got Jimmy Uso. His brothers are tied. It's 86. Jinder Mahal, it'll be out of the game for next time. 79, pretty fair. Joaquin Wild, or Joaquin, or I'm so terrible with names. 72. Joe Coffey, 81. Joe Gacy, 75. Joey Abs. I love the Mean Street Posse. I got all of them in here. Well, 3 out of them. 59 overall. You got to have some of the jobbers. John Cena, one of the greatest to ever do it. 97 overall. And all his iterations here are accurate per year. So in 2020, 70 overall, not the greatest. So this is for 03. This is 03 John Cena when he was a heel. Didn't win much in the mid card. And then so 2020 again, 2020. And then this is 2002 only, 89 as the prototype. An OVW, very good. Gargano, 80. John Moxley, 92. That might be a little bit high, but he does a lot of things. He does the submissions, he does the flying. He's pretty strong. He's pretty athletic, fast and agile, all that stuff. So like 92, he was world champion in a lot of different promotions. CZW, obviously WWE. So 92, kind of fair. Josh Briggs, 80, pretty fair, I think. Julius Creed, 80. Huvitude, a little low for him, but I mean, I don't know. Mid, low card guy. 76 is fair-ish. Tara Sane, 79. Kiara Sane, I'm going to pronounce it. Kane, overall, his whole career, 93, 08, 91, and then 97, 96. In 98, Kane is about like an 80 or so. He lost a lot of matches, even though he was his first ever world championship. But love Kane. This is my favorite look of him besides the 01-ish look. Machine Gun, 80. Karrion Kross, 82. Dan Chance, 71. Caden Carter, 74. Okada is a little bit low for my taste, 87. He's lost a lot of matches before he was the champion, so I think that might have to do with it. But hopefully that goes up, because he's starting to, I think he's might be 40 now. Get that money, but hopefully he can get those dubs. 88 for Ken Shamrock. Very solid dude. Great submission specialist, strong, athletic. Pretty much does everything. So 88, you might think it's a little high, but it's actually quite fair. Omega, 90. Still has a little bit left to go. Hopefully his health issues will be all right. He's higher than Okada, but I feel like Okada should be about 91 if he's a 90. Kevin Nash is his whole career, so includes Outsiders, NWO, WCW, didn't win that many matches. Won a lot as Diesel, so it's kind of like right in the middle of like a 76 and a 92-ish. Kevin Owens being 88, pretty fair, pretty athletic for a big guy. He's won a lot outside of WWE. Has won a decent amount in WWE as well. He's been world champion there. Don't know much about Kit Wilson. Kofi Kingston being a little bit high for me at 91. I guess he's like a 5-tool player, as they say in baseball. He does everything. He's got speed. He's got pretty decent strength. He's got the athleticism, the agility. He does everything but I think one thing is submissions. And same as Conan, a little bit high for me, but I mean, he does pretty much like everything. Like he flies, he does the submissions, like he's pretty agile and athletic for his size. He's pretty strong, so it just is what it is. These are the athletes, these are the ratings. Ibushi, 89, pretty fair, especially if Omega's a 90. So Golden Lover, 89. Kurt Angle's whole career, 91. Kurt Angle in 01 only, 83. Did download him. Incredible athlete, an incredible Olympian. Well deserved of 91 and being that like A tier. LA Knight, this is his whole career, 77. Obviously it would be a lot higher the past like year or two, but I did do this whole career for that rating there. I include Lance Storm, 84 overall for him, pretty fair. Lex Luger, a little bit high for my taste, but it is what it is. He's been a world champion. He's gone over a lot. Pretty popular dude. Lita being 82 is a little bit low for my taste, but she has been a heel for, I'd say, most of her career. Same with Liv Morgan. 75 is fair. Obviously, probably should be higher. She was a champion for a while, but it is what it is. There's my rating for Logan Paul, 70. Pretty fair. Logan Kaiser, 71. Luke Gallows, 79. Valkyra, 79. She just won the Intercontinental Championship. Here's Macho Man. My rating, 92. Very fair. Mankind as, I believe, face Mankind. So like 98 to 2002, 2001. 84, but his whole career would be lower than 84. So this is his highest rating for Mick Foley. Marvelous Mark, or was it Dangerous Mark? I forget his little nickname. So he was heel. This was the Attitude Era late 90s, 79 for his whole career though. That's his rating. Mark Coffey, 76. Mark Henry, this is his whole career, 79 overall for Mark Henry, but just the late 90s look. Marisa is 61. Villainous, didn't win much, but she was champion. But I mean, 61 is what it is. Matt Hardy, 85, less than his brother, obviously. Young Bucks are going to be kind of lowish for my taste, but is what it is. 79 overall for him. Maxine Dupree, 66. Haku Meng, 75. Michelle McCool, 82. She was world champion. Michin, 77. This is Mighty Molly only at 75. Molly Holly's going to be different. Suzuki, still going, 87. Badass dude. Miz, 73. 73 overall, honestly, is pretty fair. He's lost a lot. MJF, rather young, still has a decent ways to go as far as win totals. He has been AWA World Champion already, but honestly, 77 is pretty fair. And here's Molly Holly's whole career at 79. Montez Ford, an 80. Mosh at a 69. I think that's a little low, but Headbangers, they didn't win much. I don't think they even won tag titles, but I'm glad that they're in the DLC. Mr. McMahon, his whole career, 70 overall. Pretty fair for him. Mr. Perfect, 91. I would say that's pretty fair and pretty perfect for him. Muhammad Ali being a 76 instead of, I think he was a 90. Obviously one of the greatest boxers of all time. I think he was in at least one wrestling match. But 76 is pretty fair for him being a wrestler. MVP, 82. There he is. A little bit better rating for him. That's his whole career. Natalia, 79. Nathan Frazier, 64. New Jack, 76. You just got to have people like this in the game. Nia Jax, 70. Nick Jackson's a 1 point less than Matt. Interesting. Nikki Cross, her whole career, 80. Pretty fair. Nikita Lyons, 78. Noam Dar, 74. Almost, 76. Orange Cassidy, 77. Otis, 73. Owen Hart, 92. One of the most underrated wrestlers ever. Gone way too soon, obviously. I remember in 5th grade, I heard the news and I thought it was all a lie, but really sad watching Monday Night Raw that night. Pat McAfee, 63 is less than AJ Hawk. Obviously, AJ Hawk's probably a better athlete than Pat McAfee. All Pat was a punter, and AJ was actually a linebacker, but I gave him his respect as an athlete. Pat Patterson, 73 for his late 90s Stooges. era. Paul Orndorff, 84. This dude really should have been world champion of the feud with Hogan back and forth, but 84 is really fair for him. Penta, this is an older look for Penta. He is, I believe, 40 years old now. I hope that he can keep going and going well. I love this guy. I think he's very athletic and great. Glad he's in WWE now. Pete Gas, 59. Got to have those jobbers. I love that. Also the fact that people make Pete Gas and they put the renders out and everything. Piper Niven, 79. Post Malone, I'm sorry, bro. I do like you, but I did make you a jobber at 30. Maybe I should make you like a 40. Psychosis, 75. R-Truth, K Quick, very underrated wrestler, 88 overall. You probably think that's too high, but this guy has had a lot of longevity. Remember, that counts. Randy Orton, 92. Great modern day wrestler, fantastic bloodline from his dad. I think he's third generation, if I'm not mistaken. But 02, not the greatest, 75. Amazing in 2015 at 97. I got Macho Man from 99, didn't win much, 77 overall. Raquel Rodriguez, 76. Raven, 79 overall, even though he's ECW champion. Ravishing Rick Rude, also gone too soon from us, 85. Razor Ramon, Scott Hall as Razor only, 95. He won a lot, even I think as a heel. So what a great gimmick. Rey Fenix, 84. Hopefully he gets his situation figured out. Rey Mysterio, one of the best luchadors of all time, 91. And even better when he was in WCW. This is his whole WCW career at a 95, not just like 1 year. Rhea Ripley, unbelievable career so far, 94. Current champion, she just took it off of Liv, and this is her NXT rating. Rhino, 81, pretty fair. Ric Flair, low for my tastes. Included in that spreadsheet, he was a 95, but he's lost a lot, and that affects the rest of it. So if you play Ric Flair versus somebody, like Ric Flair does the job, and he's going to lose, so 85 is actually, I guess, accurate. Rick Steiner, 86. Ricky the Dragon, 91. Very underrated. Ricochet, terrible promo, 84. The promo doesn't count for the rating. Ridge Holland, 68. Rikishi, 85. Road Dogg, Jesse James, 76. Road Warrior, Animal, and Hawk. So you got Hawk better than Animal. 85 and 82. Rob Van Dam, very underrated. 91, well deserved. Bobby Roode, I think, just retired. 80 overall for his whole career. The Rock for his whole career, 87. And in 2001, 98. I put him with the corporation as a stable. Don't freak out over that. But Rodney, 55. Love that for us. Roman Reigns, one of the greatest in the modern day era. Finally became into his own with the Tribal Chief gimmick, turning heel in 2020. And as a 96 overall, he has won so many matches. And also the same rating. He's just as good in 2015. Ronda Rousey, 86. Obviously not her MMA rating, just WWE rating. And that's kind of ironic that her idol, Roddy Piper, is an 86. He should have probably had a program with Hogan and went over, but that'd have been insane. You can imagine those promos back and forth for like 3 WrestleManias or so. That'd been cool. Roxanne Perez, 79. Sabu, maybe a little high for my taste at 87, but he does a lot. Very athletic wrestler. I believe also his dad was the Sheik, off the top of my head. Sami Zayn, a little bit low for my taste at 79, but is what it is. Samoa Joe, absolute legend, living. 90 overall. Sandman, 71, very fair. Shanga, 69. Santos Escobar, 79. Scarlett, 71. Scott Hall's whole career, 85. Scott Steiner, 95. A little high, but I mean, the guy, athletic as hell, strong, agile, goes to the top rope. And 98, 96, probably the prime of his career. Sky Too Hottie less than. Brian Christopher, 75. Scripps, 62. Sensational Sherry, 90. Very underrated wrestler. People don't talk about how good Sherry was. Wrestling was her life, unfortunately in a bad way. I watched Dark Side of the Ring, I think, that had an episode on her. Seth Rollins, 86. Probably should be a little bit higher, but he still has a couple more years left, so maybe he can be a world champion and can be boosted up a little bit. And in 2015, even less. He was a 66. Sergeant Slaughter, whole career, 84. Shane McMahon, his whole career, 74. And then in like the late 90s, we started wrestling at 73. Whole career, Shawn Michaels, 91. 05, he was really great, 94. 09, even better, 95. And then 94, 75. And then in the DX, 98, 7, 98, he was a 79. Shayna Baszler, 79. Sheamus, 86. And he was pretty much goated in 09 as a 95. Shinsuke, 91. I feel like it should be a little bit higher, but this is his whole career, not just one specific year. So it could be higher if you end up doing that instead. Shotzi, 76. Solo Sikoa, 78. Sonya Deville, 67. Stacy Keibler, 62, pretty fair. Stephanie McMahon, 69, pretty fair. Steve Blackman, 80, maybe a little low for my taste. Steve Blackman's absolute badass. Same with Stevie Ray, 74 for him. Sting, one of the absolute legends. He is S tier, 97. This is Stone Cold Steve Austin, his whole career, 87. This is Stone Cold just 01. He lost a decent amount, so 86, but here's when Stone Cold gets a little more goated. This is the Stone Cold. If you want to play, you play with him right here. Psycho Sid, 84 overall, 6 only for X-Pac, 71. Tajiri, 82. Taka, 87, his whole career. Tama, his whole career, 77. Tamina, 69. Taz, 85. $1 Million Man, 85. Tegan Knox, 79. Terry Funk, his whole career, 96 overall. If you do not know ball, you probably think that's too high. If you do know ball, you know that this is pretty accurate. Terry Funk has won a lot. He's been champion a lot. Absolute legend. Rest in peace. Test, 73 overall. Pretty fair. Should be higher, maybe. Naito, 94. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Absolute living legend. Great wrestler. Unbelievable. It's one of my friend's favorites. It actually got me into New Japan. Thea Hall, 77. Thrasher, 69. Tiffany Stratton, you may think that's a little bit low, but she's lost a lot. Once she goes on hopefully a long title reign here, then that'll boost up her rating. But rather green to the game, you know, she's pretty good and pretty athletic. Tommaso Capia, or always mispronounce his name, 82. Tommy Dreamer, 80. Tonga Loa, spelled differently than before, 70. D'Angelo, 72. Yano, 71. I do have Yano. I love that guy. Trick Williams, 66. Triple H's whole career, 92. In the late 90s, it wasn't that good, or early 2000s. He was a 75. 08, he was pretty goated. 97. Trish Stratus, 87. I feel like that should be higher, but it is what it is. She was amazing. Probably the best women's champion ever, in my opinion. Ty Schmidt, that guy talked a lot of smack. I'm wrestling fans. I wish I could go lower than 30. Tyler Bate, 80. Tyler Breeze, 74. Ultimate Warrior, 88. It's pretty fair. He was very popular with fans, strong, and was world champion for a decent amount of time. Ultimate Dragon, 88. Umaga, 84. Uncle Howdy, sorry, this is Bo Dallas. This is your whole career. You get a 70 overall. Undertaker, absolute S tier, 99. He's also goated in 03. This is his whole career, by the way. 09, goated. 14, not that great, 76. But I downloaded 92. I gave him a 90. And then I gave the 98 one a 93. Also very good. Vader, very underrated. Athletic, big dude, went to the top rope a lot. Just unbelievable. Did a lot of things. Sarah Rowe, 76. Veer Mahan, 74. Wade Barrett, 78. Wendy Chu, 67. Wesley, 69. Will Ospreay, very underrated. Very great wrestler here in the modern era. Hopefully he comes to WWE. We'll see. 89 overall. William Regal, 77 is low for my taste. Very great technical wrestler, but very underrated. I feel like he deserves more, but not that fantastic of an athlete. That's probably why it's also a little bit low. Wolfgang, 79. X-Pac his whole career, 82. Xavier Woods, 79. Pretty fair. Zia Lee, 70. Yokozuna, 75. He's pretty athletic, but as a wrestler, not like the greatest wrestler. I know he was a 90. Maybe like in 2K's, my own personal taste, he should be like an 88 or so. Pretty strong, dominant force, but I mean, we do remember him as world champion and, you know, beating up a lot of people. But 75 is fair. Zack Sabre Jr., what a fantastic wrestler. On the mic, in the ring, 90 overall, well-deserved. Zelina Vega, 67, and the last wrestler is Zoe Stark at a 73. So there you have it. Those are my custom WWE 2K ratings. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Godspeed.
Roberts. Oh, and a terrific reversal by Steve Austin.
Well, no, we're not going to party right now.
Wow. Austin's just opening a can.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of shit going on. I think it's because of the mods I've installed.